Just one more minute, I think. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Peabody School Committee meeting. Today is April 29, 2025, and we are beginning our meeting tonight at 7:08 p.m. I'm Mayor Ted Betancourt. We have our full school committee membership here today: John Swanson, Beverly Ann Griffin-Dunn, Joe Amico, Brandy Carpenter, Jared Hockman, and John Olympio. Our school superintendent, Dr. Josh Vidala, our two assistant superintendents, Dr. Kelly Chase and Dr. Mark Higgins, and our school business manager, Sam Rippin, as well as our recording secretary, Laura Bowe. We are being broadcast today, as always, on Peabody TV, and Laura Bowe will be taking our minutes from the meeting, and we also have anybody who's able to join us remotely. We will open it up at public participation. If there's anyone at that time that would like to join us remotely, we can welcome them in at that time. Just by raising your hand, we can bring you into the meeting. And before we get into our regular agenda, I wanted to start the meeting with a moment of silence. And then we have the South School in the house today, and they're going to help us with the Pledge of Allegiance following the moment of silence. So if everybody could please stand. Well, that was pretty awesome. I think that might have been the best one we've had this year, so thank you. If there's no objection with the South School here, I wanted to go out of order if there's no objection and bring the South School on board. I always like to say I am a proud graduate of the South School, a wonderful school, great community, a lot of people who care deeply for that school, and it's great to have the South School here today. So, Dr. Vidala, did you want to open them up and open up with an introduction?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Betancourt. So we're here to welcome the South School today. It looks like we brought just about the whole school. Might be one or two kids missing. But I want to thank Dr. Sullivan and Mr. Hintzman for bringing this group up. And we have Ms. Lampkin and Ms. Galley who have our student council here. And you know, a lot of great students. I see a lot of parents, a lot of familiar faces in the crowd tonight. And we're just so happy to have you here. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Lampkin, and she can introduce the students. And we'll come right up. Excellent.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. I'm Emily Lampkin. I'm a grade 5 teacher at the South School, and I'm joined with a couple other people back there, Amy Galley.
Jeremy Hintzman, assistant principal.
And these boys and girls have been working really hard this year on a lot of different projects, and they've created a presentation to share with all of you. So without further ado, I'm going to let them take it away.
So if we can hear your names as well when you come up, and if you could introduce yourself.
I'm Anthony Reed.
I'm Sophia Simons.
How we started. To become a part of the South School Student Council, we had to fill out an application.
Then we were accepted and put into groups that represent our core values: respect, responsibility, and rigor.
Hi, I'm Addie Garino.
Hi, I'm John Arfanos.
Hi, I'm Jax Richards.
Hi, I'm Haley Packard.
Hi, I'm Bianca Gordon.
Hi, I'm Tanner Bright.
And we're the
Hi, I'm Dennis DeRoges.
Hi, I'm Jessie Joe.
Hi, I'm Faithy Kagib.
Hi, I'm Blake Ibbotson.
And we're the Respect Group.
Our group slogan is we treat each other with kindness.
Haley and I did kindness guidance lessons in the cafeteria for every grade in the school.
In these lessons, we showed a presentation of slides on how you can be kind to those around you and to put yourself in their shoes.
In each lesson, we described kindness, did a song, game, and story about kindness, which gave kids the opportunity to grow up to be kind.
Me and Tana have been doing kindness walk lessons in the cafeteria for grades 3 to 5.
Kindness rocks are rocks that you paint nice things on. Our plan is to bring little bits of joy on people's faces when they see the rocks.
How we did was we looked at Tufts Children's Hospital and we got an idea to paint our own rock garden at the South School.
We gave grades 3 to 5 rocks in the cafeteria to paint so then we can start our own rock garden in the front of the South School.
Hello, and we're here reviewing Respect Hearts.
For this project, we had to give K through 5 grades a heart paper for them to write a kind thing they did to their school, family, and friends. When they were done with this project, they put it in the cafeteria on the bulletin board.
These hearts were meant to promote respect throughout our school, and also they gave ideas to show respect to your friends, your family, and your peers. Thank you.
Hi, today me and Dennis are going to be talking about this February respectful calendar we made where you can win prizes.
Here are the rules. Every kid in the school got this February calendar flyer, and every day they were assigned a kindness task. If they did all the kindness tasks they were assigned for each day of the entire month, they'd get a prize. One of the prizes was a Squishmallow, and a couple of the winners chose Squishmallows.
If you turn it in incomplete, then you will not get entered in the raffle. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jake Dennis.
Hi, I'm Sophia Simons.
Hi, I'm Madeline Stevens.
Hi, I'm Lael Yassin.
I'm Anthony Reed.
Hi, I'm Briella Amaro.
Hi, I'm Bobby Trofanoff. And we're the Respect Group.
No, we're not.
Responsibility. We make good choices.
One of the things the responsibility group has worked on is Books for Babies. Books for Babies is a donation for Tufts Hospital and for babies in the NICU.
Adding on to what Sophia said, our goal was to donate 250 books. We ended up getting over 800 books donated. Because of all these donated books, we got to deliver them to Tufts Medical Center in Boston. And while we were there, we learned all about babies in the NICU and how they were treated.
Another thing the responsibility group did was we went to different classrooms around the school and played a recycling sorting game with younger kids.
The recycling game is we would place an item down and give it to people, and they would put it in a certain spot. Like, let's say if you have a banana peel, then if you put it in compost, then you would get it correct.
Hi, I'm Cami Vidala.
Hi, I'm Cody Eliak.
I'm Noah Davis. I'm Kenny Gutierrez. I'm Benson Del Bureau.
I'm Cora Kelly.
And I'm Audrey Ruiz.
And we're the Rigor Group.
We are proud of what we've done this year. The first thing that we did was
ST Math Mentors.
ST Math Mentors help with kids that are stuck on ST Math levels and help them to exceeding expectations.
We go into one of the third grade classes and help out 3 students who haven't been able to reach their weekly puzzle goal.
ST Math Sticker Club Crew. ST Math Sticker Club Crew is a program that we have in South School for students who reach a certain percentage.
The percentages are 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. Some students even reach higher.
And some students even get to 1,000%.
Helping students in other classes. We go around in other classes helping students who need help in subjects such as math, ELA, writing, and any other subjects that they might be struggling in. We teach them methods that other people might not be able to teach them.
One of the things that we do are video interviews on Rigor in our school. We would take a person out of each classroom in each grade, and then we would ask them 3 questions about how they show rigor. After that, we would put the video and combine it into one, and we would present it at our monthly assembly. We present one every month.
And that is a picture of us after we passed out stickers for the ST Math Club. Thank you.
Here are some quotes from student council members. The student council has been working hard this year on improving our school community.
Student council gives students a chance to do special things around the school, and I like that we get to make the school better.
We get to provide the school and students with more activities and challenges.
We get to have more say in the school. Kids get to help other kids instead of the adults helping them. It's fun to help other people.
Usually it's the teachers playing the fun things, and now it's the kids playing the fun things.
It was fun having them plan a lesson and support them while they did it, while they taught it.
Now I understand why teachers are so tired at the end of the day.
What else we worked on this year? We've worked on presenting at school-wide assemblies. We have Thursday afternoon announcements and slide on our TVs with important information that students need to know.
Some future plans we have is more video interviews with students, Lexia mentors, and a Genius Bar for SC Math/Lexia help. Some more future plans are fundraising for better recycling bins throughout the school, positive affirmation mirrors for students to use, and read aloud to classes in PASOs.
Do you have any more questions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, all of you did amazing. You really crushed it. That was terrific. Thank you so much for that work that you do. That's incredible lessons that you're learning and spreading to the rest of the school and to the community. So that is wonderful. Thank you. Do we have any questions from any of the school committee members? Mrs. Dunn?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually have 2 questions. Thank you. This was a great presentation, and it's really impressive, all the work that you're doing. And very active student council, and you're really helping your school and your fellow students. So thank you for the work you're doing. My 2 questions. First, the Rock Garden project. Is the Rock Garden something we can go see? Is it still in place, or tell me a little bit.
And people can take the rock.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm.
We actually have a technique of picking up the rocks at Boston Children's because she has a close relationship with them. She brings the rocks to the school.
Mm-hmm.
These kiddos help and do lessons, and the kids, there was a picture up there, the kids actually go down in the cafeteria, painting the rocks, and then we're bringing them back to Boston.
Oh, excellent. So we'll be able to go see them up at Centennial Drive at Boston Children's.
Most of the
Thank you.
rocks have like positive and pictures and like words on them.
That's excellent. Very good. Okay, thank you. And then the other one, the recycling bins. What kind of recycling bins are you looking for? What's a better recycling bin? Yeah, talking to the microphone, right there. Yeah.
So, we usually go to recycle classrooms, and we always run out of space because we have to go to the backstage, and there's too much paper, and there's not enough trash bins. And then we have to end up going upstairs, back down, upstairs, all around, and then we're late. And then we usually miss the bus or something.
And we also get in trouble.
My reaction, you're young, you can go up and down the stairs. But it's good to think about it. I just, a different kind of recycling bin, because I know there's specific ones for cans and bottles and things like that. Well, that's really ambitious. That's a good idea, too, because it's going to help the earth. So thank you. Nicely done.
Does anybody else have questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Mr. Swanson, do you have some questions for the students?
Mr. Mayor, through you to our guests. First, I want to say you all did a phenomenal job presenting, and and I was very impressed with the choreographics you guys had here, moving amongst yourselves, stepping up, and supporting each other at the microphone. So that's an awesome community that you have there. Second was those that went to the NICU, and now we hear you're helping out Children's Hospital. As somebody that had young babies, very young, early babies that were in a NICU, you're now supporting not only our community, but you're also helping, if you had the chance to meet any of the parents that went to the NICU. They love when you come in and you visit and you bring books. That was a phenomenal thing for us that we were there, and I'm very happy that you have that experience as well, and you're able to support and encourage families that are going through a hard time when they're in Children's Hospital, they're in a NICU, and they get to see your faces and you're able to support them. So thank you very much for reaching beyond PBD as well and making sure that you're able to support them as well. So thank you very much for that, and then obviously you guys do a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Mr. Hockman?
Thank you. You guys are incredible. Wow. That was one of the best presentations I've seen from a student council in the 16 years I've been here. And you guys continue doing what you're doing. I want to talk to your principal, assistant principal, staff members who really put this together. Wow. The lessons you're teaching at this age are incredible. I was joking with Ms. Carpenter, but not really joking. We could take this group of students from the South School and use them for professional development in our own district. Because these are lessons that you guys have learned and are living. And when Mr. Swanson talked about you going to the NICU and helping people who are in a really difficult time in their lives and bring joy and happiness and to them and even just companionship and comfort, those are things that a lot of adults in our society don't get. Don't understand. That's what I mean by don't get. They don't understand and they're not able to exhibit it. So good for you guys. Good for you, the taller people here, because this is really a great place for these students to leap into middle school and really branch out and become really great members of our community. So good for you all.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
I just want to make one quick comment. If you guys don't mind. I just want to say you're giving us, the adults, too much credit. Honestly, these kids are a really dynamic bunch, and they came up with pretty much all of these ideas on their own. We had to rein them back in when they wanted like locker rooms with showers, and that was going to be their project.
Yeah.
They were talking some real capital improvement. So we really kind of had to like bring them down a little bit, and that's how we got to like recycling bins and things of that nature. But all of these ideas were theirs. These kids have given up lunches. They've given up recesses to work with Ms. Lampkin and Mrs. Galley, who have really kind of taken the reins on the student council this year. So these kids are invested. They're staying after school at least one Thursday a month. They're meeting for an hour about things that they want to do. And I've popped into one of their meetings, and they are working in groups, and they're doing the work. They created the slideshow. We helped a little bit with cleaning up formatting, but the ideas were theirs, the work is theirs. They're putting in the time, they're doing it. It was really impressive to watch, and they're actually going to go and talk to our fourth graders towards the end of this year and try to keep this momentum going by talking to the fourth graders and actually giving out applications at the end of this year for kids who are interested in joining next year for fifth grade. So it's really them, and as you can see, their support system is incredible and dynamic. So it's really the community of kids and all the work that they did that made it happen. It's really impressive, the stuff they've done. So.
I mean, I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but are there any other questions?
I think we do. Mr. Amico?
Don't ever apologize for sounding like a broken record. We've got a few in this audience right here. Well,
Thank you.
On the school committee. No, just kidding. You guys are awesome. South School is awesome. You guys are still the Roadrunners, right? You are. Well, the original, the OG Roadrunner is the mayor, and I think he wants to get a picture with you guys, so I think you should.
right, well, that was great. Always hard to get back to our agenda after meeting with our students, but I wanted to go to item 2, minutes. We do have minutes from the April 1st, 2025 regular school committee meeting.
Motion to receive and approve.
Second.
Great, thank you. Before we go to the approval of bills, there was one other item I wanted to ask if we can go out of order.
You have to vote on the minutes.
What's that?
You have to vote on the motion on the minutes.
Oh, shoot.
Sorry.
Motion made by Mrs. Dunn, seconded by Mr. Amico, for approval of the April 1st, 2025 regular school committee meeting minutes. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Present.
Mr. Hockman.
Yes.
Mr. Olympio.
Present.
Mr. Swanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Miko.
Yes.
Thank you. And before we go to approval of bills, item number 3, I did want to see Dr. Vidala if we can go out of order to item 5, number 3. I know we have a presenter today. I wanted to see if we could go right to her.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we do have Ms. Patano here for a field trip request. So Ms. Patano is a teacher here at the Higgins, and I have a slide with some information just so that to help you all put up. But I will turn it over to you. Okay, this is an overnight field trip request proposal from Ms. Patano to Central Europe in the Holocaust. I'll turn it over. In your packet, you have the information from EFT Tours, but I just put a couple of notes on here just to help you see something.
Thank you. So good evening. I would like to request permission to open up to grades 8, 9, and 10 for the next school year over April vacation, a school trip run through EF Tours to Germany, Poland, and the Czech Republic. In the packet is the layout of the insurance, the funds needed, and I am just looking for your approval to start advertising and seeing if I can stir up some interest within the Higgins and the high school.
Terrific, thank you very much.
And I'll just add that I know the 8th grade reads Night by Eli Wiesel, and this aligns with a lot of the Holocaust and Genocide Studies work that we've done. So there's definitely a huge educational benefit to this. And so when Ms. Patano came to me to ask for permission, we talked about the relationship to the educational program that they do here and how we have some 9th graders and 10th graders that are enrolled as well. So her current 8th grade students would be 9th grade next year, and then the rising 7th grade would be 8th grade. It would be a nice opportunity to try to expand it that way. And we've really tried to do a lot with Holocaust and Genocide Studies. So I fully support this, but I wanted to bring it to the committee and to see if she had your approval to move forward. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Do we have any questions for Ms. Patano? Mr. Amico?
Through the chair. Ms. Patano, thank you for bringing this forward. I think this is a great trip for many reasons. I just had a quick question. Is this open to parents, and will you also have chaperones as well?
Yes, they do open it to parents to pay as well. And I have several other teachers that are interested in coming along. So for every 6 students, you are given an adult on the trip.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amico. Any other questions? Mrs. Dunn?
I know this is a partnership with EF Tours, but also with the Lappin Foundation. And,
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got them mashed together. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. But actually, what I was going to say are both are so reputable and run things so well. On this, I think it's excellent. It goes with our excuse me, curriculum, and it's so important for the kids to learn this now. I wish there was some way that we could do something with the payments because it's so expensive, and I know that's going to limit the ability of students to attend, but I understand it. Do you know what type of fundraising is allowed to help with this trip?
So I've spoken with them about that, and my contact at EF Tours says she will guide me through all of it. But what I've been, just initially considering are those restaurant nights and over the course of the year, being able to get a few of those in to help waylay the cost. But I am aware of the large cost of the trip, but I figure that this is something that for many kids will be a once in a lifetime, and I'm sure that if a student would be going, that their parent would be fully supportive.
Okay. And it's a question we always ask about insurance. Is there insurance on the trip in case something
Oh, yes.
changed?
Absolutely.
And, you know, someone had individual issues, or who knows what could happen, and the trip might not be able to take place. So that's all in place?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Any other questions? Mr. Hockman?
Thank you, Ms. Patano, for putting this before us. I would encourage you, in terms of Ms. Dunn's questions and fundraising, to work with Dr. Chase and maybe see if Debbie Colton at Lappin Foundation might have some opportunities for you that you might be able to apply for financially because of the nature of the trip that you're going on and the devotion that this district has put forth regarding Holocaust and genocide studies. I would think that there might be some opportunities available, and I think Dr. Chase would be a great resource for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Chase.
Thank you. Any other questions, Ms. Patano? All right, seeing none, bring that forward for a vote. Anybody like to make a motion?
Make a motion to follow the recommendation of the superintendent.
Second.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mr. Hockman for approval of this request, seconded by Mrs. Dunn. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go back to the regular agenda. Item number 3, approval of bills. We have 6 warrants today, and I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Olympio.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 6,000 dated April 29, 2025, in the amount of $6,545.71, subject to audit.
Great, you've heard the motion by Mr. Olympio for approval of warrant number 6,000, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Roll call vote for approval, please.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 6,002, dated April 29, 2025, in the amount of $300, subject to audit.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mr. Olympio for approval of warrant number 6,002, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 6,006 in the amount of $1,796,787.25, dated April 29, 2025, subject to audit.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mr. Olympio for approval of warrant number 6,006, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes. Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 6,007, dated April 29, 2025, in the amount of $35,408.84, subject to audit.
Second.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mr. Olympio for approval of warrant number 6,007, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 6,015, dated April 29, 2025, in the amount of $1,045,213.24, dated April 29, 2025, subject to audit.
Thank you for the motion by Mr. Olympio for approval of warrant number 6,015. Motion was seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 6,016, dated April 29, 2025, in the amount of $3,631,100 $195.62, subject to audit.
Second.
Thank you. You've heard the motion for approval of warrant number 6016, made by Mr. Olympio and seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Olympio. Okay, next we'll go to item number 4, continued business. We do have one item under continued business, the Peabody Veterans Memorial High School MSBA project. Mrs. Dunn, any update today?
Really not much of an update, because I know you're all on board, and you know that the city council very kindly supported our request, and through the mayor, to appropriate the money needed for the feasibility study, and it went through. The bond advertisement has already been placed in the newspaper. They're really moving very quickly on the city side to help us with this, and that was that information was relayed to MSBA, so they know about it, and they're actually going to be extending an invitation to us to come to the next board meeting, at which time we should be invited. We're hopeful, but the next step would be to be invited into the feasibility study stage of an MSBA project, which would allow us to proceed, hire an OPM, hire a design team, and get rolling on the school building. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. And I did want to offer my thanks, all of our thanks, to the City Council. It was a unanimous vote to move forward with this request, this first request for funding, and very appreciative of the partnership to be able to present to the MSBA that this was unanimous at the school committee and the City Council was something pretty powerful, and it was commented on by the MSBA. So very happy about that and appreciate their support as well. And thank you for the update, Mrs. Dunn. Okay, we'll go back to our superintendent's report. Dr. Vidala, I'll turn it back over to you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor. What was a little confusing is there are 2 field trip requests on today's agenda. So the first one, we heard from Ms. Patano, which is wonderful. The other one was item number 2, which is the Peabody Veterans Memorial High School students, in conjunction with the Lapham Foundation, are doing a one-day trip to Washington, D.C. And what's interesting is it's a one-day field trip, but they're going early in the morning, taking a flight to D.C., and they have quite an agenda. It's really great. But so this is in partnership with our Teen Soars program. So the students had to attend, they had to really do quite a bit in order to be invited into this program. They had to attend a number of meetings and really participate in this. It's fully funded by the Lapham Foundation. So the Lapham Foundation has provided a bus, a 5:30 a.m. bus to the airport. And at 7:30, they'll board a flight to D.C. from Boston. They have a tour of the Holocaust Museum with lunch provided, so they'll spend a good amount of time there. And then in the afternoon, they have a tour of the National Museum of African American History, which is an amazing museum and tour. And then they'll get back on a flight at 6:45 p.m. from Boston to D.C., and the parents will provide transportation home. So they'll meet the students at the airport. We have 4 chaperones going, 2 from Peabody Public Schools and 2 from the Lapham Foundation. There's a detailed agenda in your a detailed itinerary in your agenda, but this is a really great field trip. But since it is out of state, a little bit unique on our case, we usually don't have an air trip that's not an overnight trip, but this is a really great trip. The Lapham Foundation has done something similar with our SROs. So they started with this with the adults, and some of our school resource officers, Eric Ritchie, attended this, said it was amazing, so now we're able to offer it to 14 of our students. So what we'd be looking for is support from the school committee and approval for them to do an out-of-state field trip. And of course, any questions?
I'd like to make a motion to follow the recommendation of the superintendent and approve this field trip request.
Okay. Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mrs. Dunn, seconded by Mr. Amico for approval of this request. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor, before just
Oh, sorry.
on the motion.
Yeah, on the motion, Mr. Swanson.
Dr. Vidal, through you, Mayor, I'm sorry, to the committee. I found out about this. I think this is a phenomenal opportunity, and I did want 2 seconds before. This is not just a tour of the museums. I did talk to Officer Ritchie about this. Several RSOs, several throughout the state have gone to this, is actually another opportunity to open our students' eyes. There are tours of museums, but the way the Lapham Foundation puts us together, there are conversations during the walks. It's not just a self-guided tour. There are conversations with the museum staff. There are conversations with the Lapham representatives there. So these are experiences that our students are going to be getting. And I think it's a phenomenal opportunity, again, that Peabody has the opportunity to send our students on. So I think that everybody should be aware of this, and just, I know you all vote for it, but just the experience our students are going to be getting by going on this one-day field trip. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson. Okay, Mrs. Dunn?
I want to apologize for my error with the previous field trip, kind of mashing them together. But I'm just really pleased that our school is offering these opportunities to our students to learn so much about the Holocaust and just about, you know, the history of, it's not just history of World War II, but just being able to understand what goes on in the world and try to make sure it's not going to happen again. And I was going to say it the last time, the Lapham Foundation is absolutely amazing with the work they do with young people, so this is excellent. And just for our students to be able to go to the Holocaust Museum, it's very difficult to get into that Holocaust Museum. You have to really schedule an appointment, and sometimes months in advance to be able to go. So this is an opportunity that's huge, and I'm really happy to see our students go.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Mr. Hockman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is just an incredible trip, because the breadth of this trip goes beyond World War II and beyond the Holocaust. The African American History Museum is an incredible place too, and either of these museums, we could spend several days going through these museums, and for these young adults to go through two of them in one day, I don't know how they're going to come home. It's going to be a lot of sleeping on that flight back from DC, but I'm really, really pleased with the partnership that has developed between the Peabody Public Schools and the Lapham Foundation. It's really blossomed and flourished into something even more than I expected when we really took on Governor Baker's charge of introducing Holocaust and genocide studies as mandatory curriculum starting in the middle school and getting the Lapham Foundation to the table with us. I mean, it's this type of opportunity, and Mr. Swanson is absolutely correct. Everyone is absolutely correct. Ms. Dunn, it takes months and months to get tickets for a family of 4. Forget about 14 plus 4 chaperones. The behind-the-scenes experience that our kids are going to realize at both of these museums is priceless.
Right.
I mean, it's taking the commitment that Peabody Public Schools has to teaching Holocaust and genocide studies in an effort to eradicate hate that exists in our world to a level beyond my wildest dreams when we started this. So good for you, Dr. Chase. I'm pretty sure your footprint is on this significantly, and for the administration. And thank you to the Lapham Foundation. And I don't know the 14 students, who are going on this trip, but I suspect they're pretty remarkable people to be able to qualify for a trip like this. So thanks to everybody involved.
Well said. Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Mrs. Dunn? Yep.
Could we invite the students to come in and speak to us when they come back? I'd love to hear about what they saw and learned.
That's a good idea, Mrs. Dunn. Excellent. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank the committee for your unwavering support of these initiatives. And I know we took this charge a few years ago, and we've really embraced it. And we talk about the Lapham Foundation a lot, and I think what goes hand in hand is Debbie Colton. I'd just like to give a special shout out to Debbie Colton. The work that she's done, the Lapham Foundation is amazing, but the work that she does as a leader is really incredible in a partnership. And then, of course, Dr. Chase and Emily Moore on our end. Emily and Debbie Colton have really done an amazing job creating this partnership and fostering sponsoring it. And, you know, I just really think that it wouldn't be there without the people who are running it, and the Lapham Foundation is so generous. But really, Debbie's done an amazing job, and Emily on our end as boots on the ground has really worked out. So I'm excited about this, and we'll definitely invite them to bring it to the committee.
Yeah, just on giving people credit too, if I may, I'm sure Sharon Weiner has a lot to do with this also at the Lapham Foundation, and Natasha Saryuk, I think is how you say her name. I know I just destroyed that name, but they're they're integral parts of the Lapham Foundation when it comes to student services and work that they do. So let's give them a little credit. I think that's due to them as well.
I agree 100%. And I don't want to leave out Shannon Perry, who teaches our Holocaust and Genocide course at the high school. She'll be, Emily Moore and Shannon Perry are our two representatives, Debbie Colton, and I think Natasha is the other. So they're just amazing, and thank you. I wouldn't want to leave anybody out. Excellent. So moving on, the next item, very exciting, and credit to Mr. Amico for bringing this to our attention. There's a college consulting group called One-on-One College Consulting that works individually with families, and they have created an opportunity that they wanted to share with our district. It's a new opportunity. It'll be for rising seniors. It's called College SA Plus Boot Camp, and so it'll be for rising seniors currently in the class of 2026, and we'll be offering a 3-day boot camp August 5th, 6th, and 7th at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School. And depending on the number of students that are interested, it'll be the 9 to 12 or 1 to 4, and the cost is $300. And what they do is, we decided on August 5th through the 7th because the Common App opens up on August 1st. And this is it helps them to enter the Common App and to write the college essay, and they will leave after these 3 days with the Common App application, with the college essay completed before they enter senior year. So it's a really great opportunity. These are experts, so they help guide the kids through it. The students would then write the essay, and they would get feedback on it. So it's a really great opportunity, and so I wanted to bring this to the committee. This is an example of the flyer. There's a copy of it in the packet, and so there's a clickable link. If it is approved, we'll send this out to the class of 2026, and they can click on the form, and it's an interest form. So it's not a binding commitment, but they can express interest and ask more questions, and then if they want to register for the course, they can. We'll need a minimum of 20 students in order to run it. If there's 40 students, then we'd run the 2 sessions, the morning and the afternoon. So I don't know, Mr. Miko, if you wanted to mention anything, or if there's any questions from the committee.
Briefly, through the chair, thank you, Dr. Vidala. Yes, Kim Penny is the owner of One-on-One Consulting, and she's phenomenal. She's an old friend, basketball player, played basketball at Tufts, was a guidance counselor in Revere for many years, took a step back, raised her family, and then went back into the business world and decided to start this company, and it's phenomenal. I've used her personally in my own family, and I know many families in Peabody have. And this particular program right here is awesome. It's worth every penny, $300. Students basically walking away with their essay and their college essay, which is huge, when you're talking about scholarships and grants and acceptance into your school, the school that you want to get into. So I have nothing but great things to say about Kim Penny and her team. And also follow her on Facebook and social media, because she has a lot of great tips. She posts a lot of videos. And of course, if you want to make the investment, you could also hire her as a consultant, because her team and she are very, very, very qualified. They're excellent. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amico, for bringing this forward. This was wonderful. Mrs. Carpenter?
Thank you. Through the chair, Dr. Vidala, is it $300 per student? Per student. It's a great opportunity. I'm sure that there will be some kids that are interested in that. I'm curious, does Peabody High still offer the class, the College Works?
College Works, yep.
And they'll still help the students that don't attend this with their Common App and writing their essay,
Absolutely.
correct?
We'll still continue to do this. What we've learned is that with schools going to more the testing optional admissions policies at many colleges. That has been a new trend. The essay is becoming more and more important, and so we wanted to be able to have this. Part of this is that our staff will attend as well, and so we'll be able to listen and hear and learn from them about some of the strategic things that students can do. So it's a little bit of a PD for some of our staff members that want to attend as well, and Kim Penny is very generous with her time and her knowledge, and so because the college essay is becoming more important, with test optional, we wanted to offer this, and then we'll explore moving forward if there's an opportunity to maybe identify some students and do this again, maybe if it could be grant funded, or if it could be something that we could do. So we wanted to test the waters here. It is a cost for families, but we would be open to something that we might be able to offer and incur the cost on the district. So we wanted to test it out here, but I do think that's a great question, and it is something that's on our radar.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to make sure we were still offering all of those things here. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Carpenter. Mrs. Dunn.
Just a couple of questions. One is, there's no cost to the district, it's the families pay. Even for our teachers that attend, or do we pay for the teachers?
No, so they would, if they want to attend, that is something that they're offering for us. They're incurring that. So this will be fully funded by the students who attend.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Great, and I don't know if we need a motion, but if you'd like, we could do a motion to be able to send this out. I know it's a little bit different, we're asking that, so I wanted to put it out to the committee, or it could just be an FYI. I didn't know what, okay, perfect. So we'll move forward, this will go out. I wanted to at least present it before we sent it out. There is another item, actually no, let me move on, sorry. School choice. So each year, we are required to discuss school choice on the floor, and so under Mass General Law, school choice, it is assumed that the district will participate in school choice. So the second bullet here, each city, town, or regional school district shall enroll non-resident students at the school of such the non-resident student's choice, provided, however, that the district has seats available. So what's interesting about this each year is we talk about it on the floor. If the school committee takes no action, we will continue to participate in school choice. If the committee would like to stop participating, we would make a motion and we would vote to stop participating. Each year I like to provide the receiving tuition and the sending tuition. We don't have any control over students that leave and go to school choice, so that sending tuition is there. There is a little bit of a dip. Typically it's a wash. It's usually pretty even. There was a little bit of a dip this year in our receiving tuition, $347,668. Because we went down to the 7 schools, we had less seats available, so we accepted less school choice this year. So there is a dip. Later in the meeting, we'll talk about the new enrollment figures that we expect, and I would expect that next year we would see an increase in that, as long as the committee would like to continue to participate in school choice. And happy to answer any questions about school choice.
Thank you, Dr. Vidal. I'll open that up. Mr. Hockman.
Thank you. Through you to Dr. Vidal. My memory is that, is this a vote that needs to take place by May 1?
If you want to stop,
right,
we would need to do it by May 1st.
It's either April 30th or May 1st or something like that.
Yeah, so it's usually the end of April. We didn't have that first meeting this month, so it's a little bit closer to the end. But again, we have historically encouraged parents of students, maybe our teachers or other staff members, to bring their students here. That is something that we like to encourage, and school choice allows us to do so.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the advantages of school choice. I also see some pitfalls, but I've supported it in the past, and I think I would continue to support it. I'm a little concerned this year in particular with talking about this before we run into the budget, because there's potential implications that we're going to see with finances over the course of the next month or 6 weeks that would impact my thoughts on this. However, I just want it to be clear, not to you, but to the millions in the audience on the couches listening to us, that when we open up school choice, it does give the superintendent discretion to fill seats if there are seats available, only if there are seats available. It does not displace any Peabody Public School student. It does not take priority over open enrollment for Peabody residents who wish to attend a different elementary school, which is also at the discretion of the superintendent. All school choice does is it allows us to accept students from who don't reside in Peabody when there are seats available in classrooms or grades around the district. We started allowing students into school choice, I think, as a district about 12 years ago or so. Prior to that, we didn't. And one of the reasons that we did, or I was supportive of this, is because of that school choice sending tuition, which has always existed. We have always had Peabody residents who elect to send their children to schools other than Peabody High School, or sometimes even the Higgins Middle School. Not so much anymore the Higgins, but I think more Peabody High School than anything, or high school age kids more than anything else. And I wanted to offset the losses that we were experiencing by losing the Chapter 70 money that we're sending to other districts, because the Chapter 70 money follows the student. So I do support this. I know that the superintendent is mindful of the environment that we're in, and I just want to make it very, very clear to everybody listening and for the record that school choice does not displace any Peabody resident from attending school in their neighborhood elementary school, and it does not take priority over an open enrollment request that a Peabody resident has for an elementary school.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Those are excellent points. And the approval process happens after the budget is already approved by the school committee and the city council. So we will know what our availability is. And so if it takes any, if you can take any solace in the fact that we will know how many classrooms we have and what our enrollment numbers are prior to having to make a decision about how many students to let in. So thank you. Your point is well taken.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Any other questions on this item? Mr. Hockman?
So we don't need to vote if we're going to maintain what we're presently doing.
Correct. Yeah, we just have to discuss it on the floor, which we did, and it's an agenda item, and so we'll be able to fill out the form through DESI and say that we've talked about it, and we will be continuing to participate. The next item, I apologize, I don't have a slide for the FKO annual recommendation. We're under contract with FKO until 2027, so in that contract, it says that I must notify the school committee of our anticipated continuation each year by April 30th. So I wanted to provide everybody with the knowledge that our intention next year is to continue with FKO. We will be reopening the center school option for FKO. The Burke currently has a program. The Brown currently has a program. The Carroll currently has a program. The Welch School currently has a program. And the McCarthy School. So 6 of our 8 elementary schools have before and after school with FKO. The other 2, South and West, have PASOs, before and after school. So every student, every school has an opportunity for before and after school, but there are 6, next year there will be 6 schools with FKO programs.
Thank you. Mrs. Dunn?
Question, could we get could you send us a copy of the FKO contract and any dates regarding renegotiation or the payments that are due, anything like that?
Yes, absolutely, and we are under contract with them until August of '27, but I will provide the committee with that contract and the schedule of payments as we negotiate it.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next one is center school enrollment update. So prior to April vacation, we sent out our notification to all of our center school families, and we have some current projections. Dr. Higgins is going to go around. We are showing it in a couple different ways. So I wanted to be able to share this with the committee. There were 306 students that are currently enrolled in grades K through 4 that attended the center school last year. Of those, 213 students were assigned to the center school, 85 students were assigned to the McCarthy School, and 8 students were assigned to the Carroll. So this is based on all the information that we had. 301 students have made their enrollment choices as of April 17th, and of those 5 undecideds, we have 3 of those students have made their decisions, and we have a meeting about the other 2 students coming up. So by the end of the week, everyone will have made their determinations, and we're currently working with the families. And then once we have all of this settled, our staff will be determined on our enrollment projections, and of course, our class sizes across the district are, of course, budget dependent. So I want to go over a couple things, lots of numbers, but so this first slide, and you have it in front of you, is where the students have selected to go in each grade. So of the 306 students, 163 have chosen the center, 74 have chosen the McCarthy, 30 with the South, 13 with the Welch, 8 with the West, 9 with the Carroll, and 4 at the Brown. And we have those current 5 undecided students that we're currently working with and identifying the locations that they want. And as I said, this represents 3 families of 5 students, and 2 of those 3 families have already made their decision, and so they'll be incorporated in the updated numbers. So the second sheet is just a breakdown of where the students who were assigned the center school have chosen. So we had 213 students assigned the center school, 159 have elected to stay, 27 have chosen to remain at the South, 11 remain at the Welch, 5 remaining at the West, 7 remaining at the Carroll, and 4 remaining at the Brown. So 213 were invited or were assigned to the center, and this is where they chose to go. We assigned 85 students to the McCarthy School. Of those 85 students, 73 have decided to stay at the McCarthy. 5 have elected to return to the center school. 4 have elected to stay at the South. 2 have elected to stay at the Welch, and 1 has chosen to stay at the Carroll. Of our Carroll School students, there were 8 students. 3 have elected to remain at the West, and 5 are undecided. Of those 5, but as I said, 3 of them have already made their decision, and we're just waiting on my last meeting on Thursday to rectify that. And so this next slide, and I'll pause here after this one, is our projected enrollment across all elementary schools. And we pulled out the students in special programs because the reason I have included this slide the way it is I would like to be able to use this to determine the number of classrooms per grade. So the students in special programs are in a grade, but they already have a different classroom. So when we talk about class size, for example, if you look at the Brown 5th grade, there are 52 students in the general ed setting divided by 3 classrooms. That's about a 17 to 18 students per grade. There are some other students who are in sub-separate programs, but they don't impact the class size of the general ed setting. So they may be part of the Connections program or something, but there's 52 students divided by 3 grades. So this is where we're at this year in terms of what we believe the projected enrollment is. So I have our kindergarten is just projected numbers based on the averages that we have going across. And so we can see the total enrollment of each elementary school with each of the grades that we're projecting. And so this number, 2,791 students in elementary school, is our current enrollment in elementary school. So as the 5th grade leaves, I just projected the kindergarten to be a similar number. So we're expecting about the same number of students. So I can pause here. It's a lot of information. I wanted to show the data in a couple different ways so that you had an understanding of where the students had choices to go to and where they chose to and how that impacts the rest. As we talk about the budget in the next several slides, this will be part of our budget discussion because we added classrooms to other elementary schools when we closed the center. So now as we're reopening the center with 12 classrooms, we don't need all those classrooms in the other buildings, and we can reallocate them, and so it does have some budget implications. So I'll pause here as we talked about enrollment before I get into the budget discussion, but I wanted to kind of talk about the process, how we've worked with families, and how people made their decisions. But this is where we're looking at for our enrollment next year.
Thank you, Dr. Vidal. I'll open up any questions or comments. Mr. Amico.
Thank you through the chair. Dr. Vidal, thank you and your team for this nice spreadsheet. It's very clear, easy to read. The numbers are very clear. Just a quick question on the center. From the projections, it does look like we're looking at 2 classrooms per. Am I reading that correctly? Just by the numbers and contractually, if we
Yes.
divided those, so probably about 2 classes per.
2
And that's
classes
something
per
we
grade, and
talked
that's the 12, and that would be the 12 classrooms that we're looking at. Yep.
All right. Cool, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amico. Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Dr. Vidala. Dr. Vidala, on that very last page, those special program students, are they, I know they're included in the total.
Total enrollment.
Are they included into the class sizes, or they're
So
separate, or how does it work?
These students are in sub-separate classrooms,
Sub-separate, okay.
and so these students are sprinkled out throughout the grades, and so there are some in each grade, but sometimes if there's, say, 10 students in one grade in a special program, there might be 2 special program classes at that grade, and we have separate teachers for those classes, but it might skew the numbers of what it appears our class size is, and I wanted to pull them out because I wanted to make sure that when we're looking at these numbers, we're looking at that divided the number of general ed teachers to demonstrate what our class size will be, because that will help us make some decisions later about how to reallocate the staff when we reopen the center school.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Mr. Olympio.
Thank you through the mayor. Thank you, Dr. Vidal, and your team for putting this together. So on what Ms. Dunn was saying, I'm looking at the Brown, Burke, and the West. So those students that might be part of they could be part of the co-taught, no.
So these students, and that's a great question, because we
Yeah.
do have different, we have a continuum of service. So the co-taught students are included in the numbers because they have a general ed teacher, and there's an additional staff member in there, but it's one of the general ed classrooms. The students listed in the third column have a separate teacher.
Okay,
And so those are the students in our special programs. They might be included for specials and lunch and things like that, but less at the academics. So I wanted to just separate it out so we could see, for example, 63 students in the 4th grade at the Brown warrants 3 teachers. Class size is 21. There might be another 6 students in a sub-separate class. That doesn't impact the class size of 21 for the 4th grade. They're included for specials, but they would not be included in that general ed number.
Thank you. I wanted to be clear on that. And just refresh my memory, the Carroll School last year, how many students did we have last year?
About 660.
Okay.
Yep, so we'd be looking at about a reduction of 100 students.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that, we added about 100 the previous year, we'll
Yeah.
be bringing them back to the center.
Okay, thank you.
So between the McCarthy and the Carroll, we'd be looking at bringing those 200 kids back to the center school.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olympio. And I actually had that same question, Dr. Vidal. I was going to ask you about the Carol. And I didn't know if you could maybe, over the next few days, I'd like to know what, for each school, what it was last year and what it's going to be this year. I knew Carroll was the most dramatic, but also, I know some of the other schools' numbers are going to be adjusted as well. So I was hoping you could provide that to us, too. Thank you, Mr. Olympio. Mr. Huckman.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vidala, for the information that you're giving to us, and thank you for the administration for walking the center school families through the process and allowing them the opportunities to return to the center school or stay at schools that they're presently at, or attend other schools, I think, right? So there were a lot of options that were available to center school families, and it looks like, based upon the results of that work, that we're going to have estimated 204 students populating the 12 classrooms at the center school for the 25-26 school year, which leaves ample space based upon my looking at these numbers and the class sizes I expect based upon the number of classrooms per grade level, ample space for center school families to return, or if there's somehow some influx. There's a lot of rental units and things like that that would still, I think, fall within the center school community. So that's good to see. And can you, in addition to the 204 students that we're expecting to enroll for 25-26, do you have information regarding the number of preschool students that we would expect to see at that building as well for the upcoming year?
Yeah, we would expect preschool to be relatively flat, about 75 per session, 140 total, but most of them are about half day. So usually about 75 kids in the building across the 8 classrooms that we have populated there, and that would remain in the annex.
So we'd be
So
looking...
about 350 total inhabiting that building, but on a day-to-day basis, you may only see 275.
So even with the 350, it would be 275 at one time?
At one time, correct.
Because there's a staggered session for the integrated preschool, and I think my memory is that the center school, before we were compelled to close it because of the conditions, was it over 400 students? Or?
It maxed out at 440.
Yeah, so there's been considerable relief that's been provided to the center school, and I'd like to reiterate how grateful I am, and I think the center school community is, for the city council and their appropriation of funds to make significant repairs to that building so that it is useful and safe. And we've been responsible, I think, in reducing the population in that school to allow for those improvements to last as long as we needed to, because we're pretty confident we're not going to get in the MSBA pipeline for a significant renovation or new center school until at least the high school is done, which is going to be several years down the road. And I think we've taken the responsible steps and measures to make the center school community and environment such that it will allow for the repairs that are being made at considerable expense to last for 10, 12 years, because that's probably the realistic expectation if the MSBA is willing to partner with us for a new or significantly renovated center school. And I would also like to, and I don't know if it may be somewhere else in the agenda, I know that there were some concerns about air quality, and there were some reports and studies that were done for that. I don't know if you want to mention that, or if that's going to come out later on in the agenda tonight.
So I can mention now, or it could have been during building and grounds. So I know that we had some air quality testing that was done prior to the school vacation, and there was some remediation that was done with air purifiers and things like that. There was some additional work that was done over the April vacation around, so we have a steam heating system, and so the steam pipe below the annex was built a long time ago, and the insulation, as long as it's undisturbed, contains asbestos materials. So in order to replace that, we abate the whole system. They did that over the April school vacation when there were no students in the building, and then they repaired the pipe and put materials that do not contain asbestos. But part of that is air quality testing at the end to make sure that there are no asbestos-containing materials in that, and that came back, and that report is posted on the website, that there are no materials detected, so there's no asbestos detected. That is different than the first air quality test that tested for fungal spores and things like that. We do intend to retest for those in the coming weeks. And so Jim he's currently in the process of getting that vendor to come back out and to retest those areas. But all those classrooms have air purifiers, commercial grade air purifiers, and they've been running for the past few weeks.
Please, Mr. Harkin, you still have the floor.
No, thank you, and thank you, Dr. Vidala, for that information. And I assume that we're going to, whenever we disturb any products within or materials within the building that have known asbestos, we'll test again after they're disturbed. So I know over the course of the summer, when we work on the kitchen in that building, there are asbestos floor tiles, and after that work is done, and it's all done by licensed hazmat professionals through the state, that we will have some testing done post-removal, and we'll get the results of that, and that'll all be available to anybody that's interested in it.
Yeah, correct. And so the tiles in the kitchen, that work will begin the day after students are out, and we'll go through that whole process, and those reports will be put up on the website as well.
Thank you. Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you. Just to follow up on the testing, one of the concerns people have contacted me about is that the parents of the preschool receive results, but the parents of the center school students, because they're not there, they haven't received the results. So when we go back in and retest for the mold spores, and you say, they're going to retest those same areas, could we please retest the whole building? I
So
know
the-
there'd be nothing to compare the rest of the building with, but
So-
I think it might put people's minds at ease to be able to see that and inform that whole community. The asbestos testing, I know that's totally separate, and I understand that.
So there will be testing in the main building when the construction is done, but because it's a construction zone, they don't want to test. They're, you know, they're sanding walls, and
yeah.
they're doing, you know, carpentry work. So there is dust that is
Right.
indicative of a construction site. So they want to test the same areas that were tested before, so they have a pre and post, and then at the end, there will be testing over the summer. All of that is on our website, and we continue to update that. And so, and people can certainly direct them to us, and I had a conversation with a parent today, and so we want to make sure that we're providing as much information as possible.
Oh, okay, because I know, basically, the kitchen area, I say the kitchen area, that's almost a separate, I don't want to say project, it's a separate arm of the project, because right now they're working on classrooms as well. Do we have any idea of, will the classrooms be done before the summer, and then the kitchen work's going to continue over the summer? Do we have anything in
I can get that
place for
timeline
that?
for you. I don't have that
That would
timeline tonight, but I can get the timeline on the project. I know there's going to be an update on May 1st from our facilities team, but I can get a
perfect.
timeline on everything.
Oh,
Absolutely.
That's great, yeah, if we can hear from Mr. Politano, that'll be wonderful. Thank you.
And I was going to touch on that. I met with Mr. Politano yesterday. I know Josh and his team has as well. I got an update as to where things stand in terms of timeframes, and things are going very positively there. Like we did around April 1st, he put out a full report that went on the school website. He's going to have another one out later this week for May 1st as well. Updates with the progressing work, asbestos, and all kinds of updates. He's also working on some plans for the outside, the parking lot area, to allow for some more spaces to be put in there. So a number of things are taking place. He's extremely confident that we're in a real good position right now with the work that's taking place, both in a scheduling point of view to make sure we're ready for September, but also from a budget point of view as well. But on May 1st, he'll have a full report with a complete update as to where the different items stand.
Very good, thank you.
Yep.
Excellent. So these two kind of go hand in hand. Oh, I'm sorry. Was there anything else on that one? Okay. I just wanted to, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Mr. Amico.
Through the chair to Dr. Vidala. And I know there was a timeline for everyone to, and I know you had a few undecideds, but if we could look at those numbers, if you go back. I'm looking at favorable learning environments there of class sizes at the center of anywhere from 13 to 17 students. Did we already have a cutoff? Because we may have parents and students who are looking at that and saying, you know, maybe I do want to go back to the center now.
So we did have a cutoff, and we have told people that if they want to change their mind, we'll work with them. So, I mean, a lot of people, moving schools for an elementary student is a lot, and that was the conversation that we had. We wanted to be very mindful of what the needs are for the families. And a lot of families have said, I just don't want to make another move, and a lot of families say, I just want to go back to the center. And so whatever their desire is, we want to work with them, and that's what we've been doing. So there could be a little fluctuation, but we don't think it's going to move the needle. So if people do want to change their mind, we can certainly work with them.
And that's why I was
Yep,
asking. 'Cause
absolutely.
You may have an outlier. You may have one or two people that just say, hey, you know what, my kid would benefit from a smaller classroom or whatnot. So, but thank you for offering that. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Amico.
Excellent, thank you. So the last item on the superintendent's report is just an update on where we are with the 26 budget. So this slide is very similar to the slide that we showed earlier. The budget books were prepared and delivered for all of our school committee people. I added a separate document in the back as sort of a new tab from some of the previous presentations that we've done. So this slide was presented back in February, on February 11th. The number has changed just a little bit. The only thing that has really changed is health insurance. But so the anticipated budget right now, level service budget plus the center school is $104,254,430. We know that that is not going to be the voted budget, but that's where we are. That's our starting point. So we had to draw that line in the sand, and this is compared to last year's budget, with the drivers being special ed tuitions, health insurance, transportation, and then talking about our other items impacting the budget will, of course, be our collective bargaining agreements, the center school coming back on, and the end of the shelter grants. So again, on February 11th, this was the slide that I presented on February 11th when we were at 103. And how did we get to that number? So we started with the voted budget last year, $94.5 million. We added an increase to the health insurance of $1.5 million. That brings us to 96. $800,000 for special ed tuition, $600 for transportation. We anticipate the steps and lanes will be about $950,000. Our shelter funds coming off of grants and back onto the district would be about $500,000 in salary. The anticipated impact of negotiations would bring us to about $100 million, and then the center school being 2.25 would be 103. So this is what it looked like in February, and now knowing what the health insurance is, it was a little bit more than we did. So to get to the number that we have, everything is the same, except it's really a $2.5 million health insurance increase. So that brings us to the 104 number. All these other increased numbers are the same for level service. So when we look at our Chapter 70, again, this one was presented in February. Our required net school spending is $98.6 million. That's not our voted budget. It's just a line in the sand. So again, if we anticipate around that number of $98.6 million and the current level service budget, and I put an asterisk next to it because it includes level service as everything that we're doing now and everything for the center school, so there's some duplication there that we'll talk about in a second. We're looking at an estimated deficit of about $5.6 million, and these are all estimates. But as we look at that, we're going to need to bring this budget down. And so the asterisk that you see here and this little note at the bottom is, we have our level service budget includes 31.5 FTEs that were not in the FY25 budget. And so part of that is that we're bringing in staff to the center school. We haven't taken anything away yet in order to fund that. So my recommendations for next steps is that we start at the elementary schools where we moved 200 students to the center school. We're going to need to bring some staff there. I haven't reduced that yet because I want to have that conversation with the committee about how and what we do that. And that's why we had the enrollment numbers across the board to see, what makes sense. How many teachers per grade should we have in each building? We added teachers to the South School, to the Carroll School. In order to add 100 kids at the Carroll School, we added 5 teachers. We may need to bring 5 teachers back in order to fund this. So we have to do that at the elementary school, and that won't require us cutting any teachers, but it will require us reducing the FTEs that are budgeted. So my recommendation is the first step from getting down from this 104 number is to start with the elementary class size and come up with a process for that. And then we have to identify some other areas for reductions. But I want to just kind of show the methodology of what we were thinking, answer any questions. I have an additional spreadsheet similar to what Mayor Betancourt was asking that we could use as a tool. What was the enrollment last year? How many classes did we have? What's the projected enrollment? How many should we budget? And I think we could use that collectively as a team to identify some areas to fund those 12 classrooms. And by funding 12 classrooms, they're in 2 different places, that would reduce this number. And I think that's the easiest way to reduce this number because I think there's some duplication in this. And then there's going to be some hard conversations, but the first bit I do think that we would, I think that's the best place to go.
And thank you, Dr. Vidal. That's very helpful. Just a couple of comments I wanted to make at this time. Certainly we can open it up. Over the last several years, we've been able to, as a city and as a school committee, school administration, work collectively to make some real improvements to our system. We've been able to make additions. I think if you look back at our budget, let's say 7 years ago to now, there's some dramatic improvements we've been able to make, we've been able to add. This is not going to be that year. This is going to be a step back for us in terms of our budget. It's going to be difficult. and it's going to be serious and very severe in terms of what the actual number is going to be. I don't have it yet because I'm still trying to work on some other departments to do the very best we can for our school budget. But I think you see this is not a Peabody issue. I think you've seen in the newspaper very recently, Salem has a $5 million gap in their school budget. The town of Linfield, right next door as well, is going to be going to a vote on an override. They have a $4+ million gap in their school budget. And I think if you looked at a number of other cities and towns, some that were very prominent recently, as well as really across the board, I don't think that there's a school district that is not going to be in this situation, from what I'm learning from my peers and from my colleagues. So this is going to be a tough budget. We are going to have to take a step back in some degree because of just the escalating costs. We have, as Dr. Vidala mentioned, we had a 14.19% increase in our health insurance cost. That's unprecedented. Last year was just under 10% at 9.95%, and that was unprecedented at the time, because typically we were looking at a 5, 6, 7% interest increase every year. To go now up to 14.19% is pretty serious and pretty devastating to, I know, all cities and towns as well as some other costs that went up significantly that affect our school budget, our city side budget, police, fire, across the board. One that, it's a different budget, but I often look at it as very similar in terms of where we're at, is our increase in our Essex Tech budget went up nearly $1 million this year. Far and away the biggest increase we've ever had to that line item. Again, that's a separate budget, but it is our Peabody students, and that was a significant increase over years past. Last year was not anywhere close to where it is now. So that all comes in not directly to the school budget, but our overall financial condition and where we stand. So it's going to be very difficult for us. Over the next few weeks, we're going to have some tough decisions to make. Dr. Vidala and I, hopefully by the end of this week, will kind of have our working number, but also a proposal for a number of meetings coming up over in May. We're working with our city clerk to schedule those meetings in June to present to the city council. I should have those for you as well. I can probably have those to you by tomorrow, but I want to have everything over to you at least by the end of this week. Kind of our numbers, and then a proposed schedule for meetings upcoming. And I should be able to have that over to you very soon. So we're going to just do the very best we can, but this is, I know, a issue that cities and towns across, certainly Essex County and across the state, I think, are working through because of these escalating costs and a lot of the uncertainty that exists right now. So we're going to do the very best we can. I don't want to take steps backwards because I think we've taken many great steps forward, but this year is going to be very difficult to navigate. So I'll get that information over to you hopefully by week's end. Any questions, comments at this time?
Okay, excellent. And I do anticipate, we'll have a number of meetings. I want them to be very collaborative. And so if there's information you would like displayed a certain way, especially with enrollment, let me know. If I could just share my screen. This is something I was working on. It's not in the packet, but I think this might be helpful for the committee to make our first round. So I created a spreadsheet, and I think based on what the mayor said, what I can do is I have one of these for every elementary school. So this is the number of budgeted classrooms we had in the FY25 budget, 18, and this is the projected enrollment, and this would be the number of class size if we did that. I've highlighted that if we went down, say, to 2 here, and maybe sent that over to the center school, that would make 19 per class. And if we went 2 here, that would make 23 per class. And that would save 2 positions. And so I think this could be a methodology that we use together to go through each elementary school and look at what would happen if we reduce the size, what would it do to the class size. But I think what I'll do is I'll add the enrollment for 25 compared to the class that were budgeted, and then we'll do that because we want to come up with these 2 classrooms per grade and then what we'll do, if we can reduce those 12 classrooms, there's 12 positions in the budget that we're just reshuffling. They're double budgeted right now, and that could save us $1 million from this first number. So I think this would be a useful way to show it, to help us get towards that number, and then we have to look at other reductions in support staff and things like that. But some of them could be duplicate places, and I want to be able to do that first, because I budgeted level service without the center, and then we added the center. Those are not populated yet. So I just think this might be a good way for us to work together to identify some of these reductions that make sense and you can see in real time. And I think that might, if this is helpful, you know, that's something we can use to work together to do that. And if there's any other way you want it displayed, let me know. I can put together spreadsheets, and I know that Dr. Higgins and Mr. Rippon and Dr. Chase are all very good at displaying information, but I want to try to make it as easy it is to see, so that we can get some of these numbers down to a more reasonable, like you hear 5.6 million, and that sounds, oh gosh, how are we going to do that? But like I just said, there might be $1 million in here that's double budgeted. So I don't want people to think that this is close to the end number.
Thank you. Mr. Olympio.
No, thank you, through the mayor. Yeah, no, I agree. I think we have to start there first, because then once we can flush out the duplicates, then we kind of know really the real number that we're looking for. So, yeah.
And that's before cuts, right? And so we want to avoid cuts at all costs. There may be some, but let's do this first before we talk about any cuts.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olympio. Mr. Huckman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dr. Vidala, can you go back to I think it was the second slide in the presentation that you just gave us? Talked about some budget impact. And while we're doing that, we don't meet as a committee until May 13th under our current schedule. Knowing that we generally have a public hearing on the budget early June, if not late May, I would just advise the committee to make a lot of nights available in May in this environment. I think it's the one forward. Yeah, so looking at these areas, transportation, there's an increase we're anticipating of $600,000, and that's based upon a contract which we approved, a contract or a service that went out for an RFP, and Mr. Rippon worked really hard on this to get us the best price available, and it just happens to be that we're entering into a new or maybe an option year on a contract or something like that, and that's a contract that we approved. We're not changing that. We're not changing transportation systems at this point. Steps and lanes are built into collective bargaining agreements, and even though there's negotiations going on, I don't anticipate that changing at all. We heard about health insurance and what the difference is there. You know, the 14% increase is what it is. I think there might be some opportunities there, but there's a 14% increase that's going to need to get addressed. Negotiations. We're in negotiations now with all of our bargaining units on the school side. Every one of the members of our staff deserve COLAs, deserve increases, because they work hard, and cost of living is just going up and up and up, and there's going to be increases in the amount that we pay our people because they deserve it. EA shelter funds. It's my understanding that the governor's committed to closing the shelters as they exist in Peabody on December 31 of 2025. We presently receive $104 per day per student for students that reside in shelters and attend Peabody Public Schools. So I don't know if it's to Dr. Vidala or to Mr. Rippon. Is it anticipated that we're going to continue to receive $104 per day from the opening of school in the 25-26 school year until those shelters are no longer existing?
We have not received that commitment from the legislator. We're going to ask for it. So not knowing if we're going to get it, we put 6 positions or 7, I forget, we put a handful of positions into that funding for this school year. A couple ELL teachers, counselors, things like that. We were able to offset the budget with that. I brought them back because I don't know that those funds are available for next year. We'll have to take a hard look at, can we make do without those? But they're in the budget as level service because we provided that service this year, and I don't have that funding source for next year. So they're in this number, and we'll have to make some of those hard decisions.
So that's part of the delta that you're showing
Correct.
in this slide?
Yep.
So in addition to that, do we have any data or expectation as to when these shelters close, how many of these students will continue to reside in Peabody?
So we don't have that data, but every student that is relocated on December 31st has the right to stay until the end of the year.
Right, McKinley-Vento. They
But
can stay
do-
beyond that, right? If
Correct.
If this is their,
Unless they're fixed inadequate.
Yeah.
Unless they get a lease or something like that. But they would be able to stay for the remainder of the year, definitely, unless they move, to Western Mass, and it doesn't make sense.
and I don't mean to be unfair to you, Dr. Vidal, some of these questions are intended to be rhetorical because it's really commentary on really the governor's office and what she's doing in terms of not funding these students who not only are here in our school district, and I'm not going to get into the politics of that, right? They're here, and any student that's here is entitled to a fair and appropriate education, and we're required by law to give them an education, and we should give them an education. They're innocent byproducts of a lot of stuff going on, but if the government, if the state isn't going to fund those students by giving us resources that we need to hire those specialists, the people that are able to allow these immigrants to be educated in their own language and to be educated in ways in which they're going to progress through our educational system, then shame on the governor. And if those students, even if they're relocated, I hope that they have the opportunity through McKinney-Vento to remain here because they're entitled to it, right? They're just like any student that would be displaced by a fire or some other catastrophic event. These students have been with us now for a few years and have developed relationships not only with their peers, but also with staff members and administrators and things along those lines. They've developed roots, hopefully, by now in youth sports activities and youth art programs, and to uproot them even further really would be a disservice. So, maybe at some point, I'll leave me, I'm speaking for me here, not for anybody else but me, I'll leave a little latitude for the administration to work with either the legislative team or whomever to determine whether or not we're going to get that $104 a day for at least the time from the opening of school, which is late August, until December 31 when those students are here. And if not, I'm going to be asking this committee to draft a letter to send not only to our legislative team, but directly to the governor.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Any other comments at this time, Mr. Amico?
Thank you, through the chair to Dr. Vidal, and thank you, Mr. Hockman. I was thinking about our funding, and now that we're talking about our budget, and let's face it, we're into it now, right? And we saw the signs last May. We talked about it. We talked about the piece of pie. The big pie, and our piece in education has been severely shrunk. And how did we get here? The state misappropriated $2 billion during the pandemic. Obviously, the cost, as you had mentioned, for our shelters. We should be drafting a letter to our legislature and our governor. I mean, where's all this gambling money going on, right? At any point, you can pick up your phone and put a dollar bet in. I mean, it's happening all over the state. Where is this money going? This money was supposed to be coming to our education. A lot of the surrounding communities have marijuana. You can't drive down the road without someone smoking in front of you, right? Where are all those tax dollars going? And again, we continue to throw MCAS out on the table. They're going to name it something else. We can't afford MCAS. We can't afford these things. The state is bankrupting cities. We're approaching a $104 million budget this year. We can't afford to do this every year. Our health insurance is going up 14%. We need some serious help from the state, and I say we should be drafting this letter today not 2 weeks from now, because we're in trouble. I don't want to see anyone lose their job. I don't want to see anyone being cut. But under these circumstances, we're going to have some, as the mayor said, we're going to have some major hurt here, and we shouldn't. You know, our main goal is to educate our students. It shouldn't cost us $104 million to do so. There's just a lot of missing pieces here, and for the state to continue MCAS, the state to, you know, again, where's all this gambling money going? Where's all this marijuana money going? It's not coming here right now, because we're about to make some serious cuts, and it's not going to be good for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miko. Mrs. Dunn?
I'm hoping this is a fairly simple question, but it might not be. In the budget document, we've got the 3 columns, the FY24 budget, then we have the FY25, but it's characterized as projected. And I just wanted to ask, because I know that's specific, do you anticipate changes in the FY25 budget, which we're in right now? And is there a reason for that language?
Yes, that's an excellent question. So in previous years, we had the voted numbers each year, and to align with what the city does is we have what was actually spent in '24. We have what we're projecting for this year, because it's not done, it's not an actual spend, but this is what we're on track to spend, and we'll spend to the bottom line of what the voted number was, and then the proposed. So this is how the city does their budget, and so Mr. Rippon and I said, let's align with what the city does. And so it's the actuals, because some things that were voted may have been overspent or underspent. So what did we actually spend? What are we going to spend this year? And then what are we proposing? So it's just in line with how the city does the budget, and I think it makes a little bit more sense.
Okay, all right, thank you. It was simple. There we go. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Okay.
So that concludes the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Dr. Vidal and your team.
That's it.
Next, we'll go to item number 6, public participation. Is there anyone in the audience today that would like to come forward and speak? The microphone is open. Seeing no one, do we have anybody remotely that would like to join us?
Seeing none online.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll go to item number 7, written communications. We have a number of communications today. Number 1, the field trip, Peabody Veterans Memorial High School to Washington, D.C., May 5th, 2025. Second, field trip, HMS/PVMHS to Europe, April 2026. Number 3, college essay and boot camp. Number 4, communication from the Peabody Veterans Council regarding our Memorial Day celebration, which is coming up on Monday, May 26th. Number 5, North Shore Education Consortium approved FY26 budget and tuition rates. Number 6, the MASC nomination forms booklet. Number 7, the March monthly student attendance report. And number 8, the Bay State Textiles March report. To open those up for receipt and approval of receipt, or any questions on any of those items.
Motion to receive all of the written communications listed in the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mrs. Dunn for approval of those 8 written communications, seconded by Mr. Amico. All in favor? That's a unanimous vote to approve. Thank you. Subcommittee reports. We can go through those subcommittee reports. Education, Mr. Amico.
Nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Olympio, Finance.
Just negotiations are ongoing with the various units. Thanks.
Thank you. School safety.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Olympio, thank you. Athletics and wellness, Mr. Hockman.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Quality and standards, Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Quality and Standards Subcommittee had a meeting today prior to this regular school committee meeting. We discussed 3 different things that were on our agenda, and they are going to be ongoing. There's no resolution tonight. First thing we discussed our policy and the need for a new one about the graduation competency determination and our local graduation requirements. We want to prepare a very clear policy. I want to thank Dr. Vidala for giving us language that he received that's been approved at the high school, and then an explanation. The competency determination is different than our Peabody graduation requirements. It kind of works together because the state had to do something when they took away the MCAS requirement. So what we're going to do is make sure that when we put our policy together, that it's very clear and easy for people to understand. And we are not changing our graduation requirements at the high school. You still need 4 years of English and, specific credits in all of our subjects. But we're going to make sure that that's explained in the policy, knowing we need this policy for a few more years, and with the state, you never know when it's going to change. So we're going to work on that, and we'll have another meeting and be able to do a much more in-depth preparation and bring something forward. And then 2 other things. One is about requiring a library or a library media center in each school building. We want to make sure we get very specific language from DESC on that. And also talking about having neighborhood schools. We want to get a good, solid definition of what's a neighborhood school in Peabody. So we're working on terminology. So those are in process, and we'll schedule another meeting.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you.
Parent and student advisory boards. Mrs. Dunn?
The Parent Advisory Board meeting is scheduled for Thursday evening here at Higgins at 7 p.m. And I apologize to the West School. They have their PTO meeting that night, so our representatives won't be able to attend. But the topics on that agenda are going to be just an update on the school projects, hopefully an update with Recreation Department programs and requirements. And it's at, as I said, 7 o'clock. Usually it's downstairs in, I can't remember the room number, it's the cooking classroom, right downstairs. So everybody's invited to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Building and grounds, Mr. Hockman?
There's no report for building and grounds, but if I can use the time, I just wanted to point out in the written communications we just received and thank Commander Dunn for the information that he's giving us for the annual Memorial Day Parade that takes place here in Peabody, and I'm looking forward to the Yankee Division Veterans Association as the host committee this year. It should be a spectacular day and a great event for the whole city, and I hope people come out and really appreciate the depth of veterans that we have here in this city.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. That was well said, yep. Special education, Mr. Olympio?
Nothing new to report.
Thank you.
Oh, one thing.
Go ahead, Mrs. Dunn.
I'm sorry. I'm going to piggyback off your report. When we discussed the language about the MCAS determination and the whole issue of graduation, we're also going to make sure that we speak with Ms. Compton and Dr. Vidala to make sure any of our special education students that would be affected by any of these determinations, that we handle that properly regarding graduation and moving on and things like that, just so people know.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Olympio.
City Council Legislative Delegation?
Nothing to report.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. Redistricting, Mr. Hockman?
Nothing to report other than when we looked at the numbers in the classes, the schools, the projected numbers, we've accomplished a lot. I talked about it maybe a little more than briefly, because I don't think I do anything briefly, but about the relief that we've given to the center school through this minor process. And that was one of the goals of the redistricting committee. It is a goal of the redistricting committee, was to give relief to the center, the south and east side of Peabody, and divert or move some of the student population to the west side. And the McCarthy is absorbing quite a few students because it's a great school, and it allows for this to happen. So other than that, there's no real report.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Performing Arts, Mr. Swanson?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I have a couple of line items for the end of this year. First off, our country choir group won to away gold earlier this month, and the Micah Festival, sorry. Again, an award-winning group that was performing out of Peabody High School. Performing Arts has taken on their New York City trip, where they'll be attending many musicals, concerts, and museums. That started this week. We've discussed that in the past. This coming weekend, May 9th and 10th, is the spring play for the drama group. Something different. It's going to be the play Things I Know to Be True. And you've heard this name, Tijan Kemera, who has been phenomenal in many of our plays and performances in the past. Actually, a student is directing this play this year. So it's going to be great. It's this 9th and 10th. So if you all have the opportunity to attend, please do. Spring concert for the high school is the 21st, and also on the 23rd, I believe it is, Friday, May 23rd. Performing Arts is going to have several of the groups coming for the Senior Citizens Appreciation concert and luncheon at I believe that's at City Hall, correct? Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School. That one is another collaboration for many of our programs we have pride in. After the concert, there's going to be a luncheon served on by our CTE culinary program, as well as the ROTC participates in that, helping with the ushering and serving the foods and whatnot. So it's a great collaboration through many of our programs that we have pride in the city. And then obviously, throughout the rest of May and into June, we're going to be seeing the performing arts through many of the festivals and the parades, graduation ceremonies, award ceremonies. They're going to be out throughout the rest of May and June for us. So, and I believe, Dr. Vidala, May 13th, we have guests coming here from the drama. All right, our award-winning, the state champions again from the drama festival will be coming in to show off for us.
Yeah, so today they had the conflict. We wanted to invite them today, but they're in New York City, so they're able to see some of the plays in Broadway and whatnot, but we'll be having them on May 13th, and we'll be able to celebrate their wonderful accomplishments, and Ms. Manning and Mr. Simmons as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Swanson. And Mrs. Dunn?
Thank you. If I could add to Mr. Swanson's report on performing arts, we know how wonderful our performing arts department is, and we always hear about our students while they're here, and they're winning Drama Fest and the awards for the music competitions and everything. But if anybody's ever wondering where our students go from performing arts after school and into college and then after college, I'd like to give a shout out to one of our graduates who's actually directing a play, Eleni Mata. And Eleni is directing a play. It's her directorial debut. It's on behalf of Deadwood Theater Company at the Boston Theater Marathon, and it's called Custody. The play is Custody, and it is opening Friday evening, May 4th, at the Boston Playwrights Theater, around between 8 to 10 during that time frame. And Eleni is still in performing arts. And that's really impressive when you think about the students. We have a lot of students who went through our program and are teachers in performing arts in the schools around here. And it's just a nice tribute to that program, because it's a high school program, but it gives people lifelong skills and lifelong involvement.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Okay, no items today under new business. We have our next scheduled meeting Tuesday, May 13th, 2025, right here, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Higgins Library. Any items for that agenda, please direct those over to Dr. Vidala and I, as usual. And I appreciate everybody's work today. It was a good meeting. Thank you very much. Motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Thank you.